welcome to Thursday Night Thoughts, episode 6. This one probably won't be a super long one. It took me all week to talk about, which I'm going to talk a little bit about adversity and adaptability, because I feel like they two things that probably go a little hand in hand. So I'm happy that you are here to join me tonight. I look forward to being able to interact with you a little bit more. You can probably notice that in behind me a little bit, I have a bit of a different setup right at the moment. I've actually gone ahead and moved things around a little bit, so I'm not sitting in my window with a weird red curtain in behind me. I'm trying to work on the lighting a little bit. I apologize, it's really kind of washed out over here. I'm still trying to play around with how to get this lit up properly over here. So if you can just bear with me on it, that would be fantastic as we work out some of the kinks as we go along. And plus I'm going to have some other fun stream things once I'm able to as well. So tonight, like I was saying, we are going to talk about adversity and adaptability, as those are two main things right now that are quite big in the world, because we all are facing quite a lot of adversity, and we are definitely having to adapt to our situations or situation, depending on how you really want to look at it. It's situation globally and situations as far as we are as individuals. So with the adversity, we're obviously all facing in some sort of fashion the global lockdown with COVID-19, the coronavirus, which has definitely hampered a lot of things for a lot of people. It's put a lot of people out of work, unfortunately, and has really changed the way that people do business or operate on a business, especially anyone that is a very public-facing style of business. It has really affected them quite a bit more. And it's really quite devastating for a lot of them, because a lot of them have had a really hard time adapting to the different scenario now. And adversity is a big thing, and being able to adapt to those different adversities is something that will be definite way of moving forward in people's success and businesses' success as well. A great example is actually this one company that I've been just starting back up with, actually. Really enjoyed them before, and I'm really enjoying the camaraderie even more so now as well. And they've really adapted their business model a lot more. And it is a business model that can be rather easily adapted and adapted fairly quickly. Because normally it's something that agents go to people's homes and start working with them. And being that we can't do that now because of all the stuff that's going on with the lockdowns and social distancing and trying to make sure everyone's healthy and protected and safe, you can't just go into someone's home to do presentations and to help them with their futures and working with them in that kind of regard. So they actually implemented a lot of great digital technology that, even if this were to happen like 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, we never would have been able to do this, as it's something that it just wouldn't have worked. If there was a pandemic at that point, we wouldn't have been able to adapt quite as quickly or easily. So it's something that has been, thanks to technology and the invent of internet access, we can actually start moving things around a lot quicker and easier now, which has been fantastic. The adversity that I have felt myself is work related. Recently, I have kind of let it get me down a little bit, but I've been trying to overcome it. I kind of hopped from the work that I did have into something different, and then I didn't really process my feelings and how I felt about the whole thing very well before trying to get into something different. So I actually took a few days, took some time to myself, hung out with my kids, went and hung out with them, and we went to the beach and everything as well. And it's something that just, where was I there? So we went out and did a lot of things. We went hiking, we went down to the beach and kept our distance from people, and we played sticks with the dog, played out on the beach, made sandcastles, splashed around in the water. Well, they splashed around in the water. It was way too cold for my liking. So It it was a fun thing to kind of get out and do and just kind of recalibrate myself and my senses. And it was something that I really wanted to do a lot more, just to try and get myself kind of into a bit of a better mindset as well, just due to the fact that I had just lost my main source of income with my job, um, which was really kind of astonishing with how they decided to go about doing this. But nothing I can really do about it at this point, just except move on and keep going. Um, so that's kind of what we ended up doing. And then I took a day to myself and just kind of had some emotional ups and downs. I talked to a few different people, which helped me get through it as well, um, which I found really quite helpful. I actually have somebody here just asking about has a social phobia, and I get a lot of stress when talking to people. Um, I had a lot of stress too at one point with talking to people. Um, and part of that is just being able to adapt to those situations. My recommend What I do recommend on that kind of instance is just being able to not go in with any kind of outcome, just start off kind of slowly, maybe not in big groups. I know a lot of people have a real phobia with talking to people in big groups, but if you're trying to do it more on a one-on-one basis, um, just taking it slowly. Don't overwhelm yourself with trying to get to know people. So just kind of it's a kind of that's your adversity, like you're trying to overcome that. So just kind of think about what's stressing you out about the situation and try to slowly baby step it through. And I think you'll probably end up coming out pretty good. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist or therapist of any kind. So take my words with a grain of salt. This is just how I've managed to work through a lot of different stress and stuff as well, is I kind of take a look at it, what's stressing me out, what's causing the anxiety, and what can I do as small steps to try and overcome it as well. One thing that I did is I actually did talk to a professional about some of my stress and anxiety to try and overcome some of that, which did help me get through a lot of different parts as well. So that's definitely something I would recommend, is just talking to someone. If you have a really close friend, you can start off talking with them and just seeing how you feel with talking to them. And just kind of go in the way I kind of go into most interactions with people is I assume the best. I assume that they're there for the best, I'm there for the best, and we're just there to um, meld basically and just kind of get along and not run anyone down and not crap on each other's ideas. So I just kind of go in with the intention that everyone is there for a very positive outcome and a very positive interaction, which does usually come out to be the exact thing that I'm looking for, and is most likely what they're looking for as well. And we end up coming out as acquaintances or friends. So if you take a look to see what that stress is, you could probably actually overcome it pretty easily. It's just it'll take some time overall, in all honesty. Like I said, it'll just take some baby steps to get through it all. But if it's something that's really kind of debilitating, I would definitely talk to a professional. I'm, like I said, not a professional. That is my disclaimer at this point. So definitely take anything I say with a grain of salt, because I am not that person that can dish out medical or psychiatric advice. This is just going off my personal experience. Sorry if my hand waves in front of the camera like I just did. I'm a very much a hand talker. So one of the things that I also do is to overcome and adapt is with not being able to get out and talk to a whole lot of people all the time. As I started doing these live streams where I do 2 on Thursdays. I do 1 in the morning called Morning Coffee with Rob. And then I do the Thursday night thoughts. But then the Morning Coffee with Rob is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's just kind of a way for me to get out and be a little bit more social. It's just kind of the way I've adapted my social ability. I have a chat up here as well for all the places that do get streamed to, which would be like DLive, Twitch, Mixer, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook. So that way I can kind of keep a bit of a track on who's saying what, where things are coming from. And hopefully I can kind of keep on top of it a little bit as well and be able to chat with everybody in that kind of instance as well. I don't know if I do a great job at it or not, but I do make the best that I can out of it. Which is weird because I'm actually on Facebook right at the moment, and I'm not seeing a whole lot as to where my live video would be sitting on the page. But I am still learning the Facebook side of it, so that's kind of all right, just because I don't know where everything happens to sit there. So once again, it's just a minor little adversity for me, and I just got to figure out how to overcome it and adapt. I try to adapt to different people in different situations because everyone comes in with something different. So if I can figure out how what's new and what's different with each person, I can usually figure out a way of adapting to them. Which if I remember right, I did one on leadership last week where I did talk about adaptability as well. And one of the things I did learn from a bunch of different leadership experts, and these people are truly the experts like John Maxwell, Robin Sharma, Darren Hardy, Simon Sinek, is that you, as the person who is being the leader to others, is you should be trying to adapt yourself to them, not them to you. So that's something I always try to do, is I try to be more adaptable to the people that I am with, not to a negative context. Like if they're trying to do something bad, I'm like, I'll try to persuade to the good. And if I can't persuade to the good, then I'm like, okay, well, you guys are going to do what you want to do. I'm stepping out because this is not what I want to do. So I'm overcoming by adapting myself to a different situation, by actually leaving the situation that I don't want to be in. Which, I mean, 9 times out of 10, my friends are usually pretty good, and they aren't usually trying to do anything bad or wrong or illegal of any kind, which is awesome. So, but the catch there, I guess, is, sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. The thought there is that you want to think about the different situations that you might be in and try to just adapt to it. So look at the adversity that you're coming up to and then adapt to it. You've lost your job. Now what do you want to do? Do you want to go find another job, or do you want to find something that will give you possibly more time, more freedom, more options to not be out of work? So you just got to take a look at the different options that might be available to you. Sometimes it's just taking a moment and stepping back and just really taking a look at different things and just kind of internalizing what's going on. Have you tied your identity to the fact that you at this job, or is it just that your identity is tied to your skills? Because your skills can be tied to your identity, because skills are transplantable. Your job can come and go if that's what your adversity right now to overcome is. So if you can adapt to the new situation and be able to overcome that, then I think you would be a lot further ahead in the long run than just kind of wallowing in self-pity and be like, oh my God, this is so terrible. Whereas the pressure from that challenge will actually create, it's like a pressure on coal where it creates the diamond. If you have enough pressure, you can either become the hero that you know you can be, or you can be just ground into dust. So if you let it build that pressure and let it make you into who you know you can be, then you will overcome virtually anything and everything that comes in your way. If you let it grind you into dust, then you're just going to let any adversity that comes towards you just stop you. But if you can see it, figure it out, let the pressure build, and then adapt to that pressure and just start becoming stronger and better, then that you will definitely have a better chance of growing and becoming a stronger person. I hope this answers some of the questions. I know I kind of got off on a bit of a tangent there, but it all kind of relates back and forth to one another, right? It's just the way it all kind of works out. As another thing that I'm gonna have to adapt to, because I'm really kind of struggling with some of this, is I'm gonna have to start building better scripts, where instead of just trying to plan it out in my head and then just trying to keep it in my head, I have to start actually planning something out where I can actually have it in front of me better, where I can be able to read it, see it, view it, talk points off of it. So that's one more thing I'm gonna have to adapt to, as well as the fact that I'm just really winging this. I've been winging this for like 4 weeks now. And I'm really just pulling stuff out of my butt and hoping it sounds good in the end. And I mean, it's not looking great, but you all got to start somewhere. And you look at the first few episodes of The Walking Dead, they looked really fantastic, but they aren't as high quality as some of the newer ones now. Some of the effects have gotten better. You look at the TV shows where they started off with their pilot episodes and they were just horrendous. And now you look at them and they just look absolutely amazing, beautiful, gorgeous. So they've just adapted over time and added new pieces to it. So as you go along, you just keep adding blocks and pieces to everything. You just kind of keep upgrading skills and equipment if need be, I guess. So you just kind of keep building and growing. You just kind of, I think the term is skill stacking. So you build up one, which then builds another, then another, then another, then another. So that way you can actually grow what you're looking to have built. Whereas this is obviously something I'm just kind of doing a little bit more on the fun side, just to be more interactive and hopefully give some value to somebody at some point as well. I'm not sure if I'm providing that value or not, but I'm hoping I really am. I usually have a couple of viewers throughout the different social channels, so I'm really hoping that everyone, or at least someone, is getting some sort of information that helps them along the way. But that's kind of all I got for today. Yeah, so if you're coming up across adversity, take a look at it, see what it is, see what might be causing the adversity. It might not be anything internally, it might all be external, which is fine because it can cause some internal issues as well. But if it doesn't, that's even better. And then what you want to do is just find what it is and then try to adapt yourself to overcome that adversity. Not adapt to the adversity, but adapt to take it over. So that way it's not going to grind you into that dust, that it will just put that pressure, that proper amount of pressure on you to create you into the superhero that you know you can be. So that's what I would just say. Just kind of take a look at whatever it is that might be bringing you down and stepping up into your way and just seeing how you can overcome it. Thinking outside the box. It's funny. I've heard terms where you can't think outside the box. You're in the box no matter what. Think outside the box. There's like a whole bunch of different scenarios that you can really think of on that one. So I won't go too deep into that. But yeah, I would just say, just take a look at it, get some extra perspective. If you can't think of anything, find somebody who can help you with some perspective on it. And then bounce ideas back and forth and just ask for some help. And like, actually, that's a good way of overcoming stuff too, is if you're going to somebody and asking them for help, because that way they'll be able to give you a yes or no. And then if they say no, you've gotten the worst part out of the way. The worst thing anyone will probably ever say to you is no, if you're asking them for something. You're not even really asking, you're asking them for a favor because everyone likes to help somebody. If you can say, hey, can you help me with this? And this is a great way to overcome stress with talking with people, is if you have some people that you're really good friends with, talk to them a little bit more. If you have some acquaintances to say, I've got the social anxiety about talking to people, can you give me a hand and just let me yak at you? You can start off on the phone, video chatting. You can go into coffees if you need to as well. It's just kind of finding different ways of acknowledging that and working through it to try to make sure that you are adapting to your situation. Like this one here with the social phobia and the stress when talking to people, that's how I would probably overcome it as well. Just talk to your friends that are really close, that you are really comfortable with talking to, then just kind of moving slowly outside of your normal social circle until you have people that you aren't really too familiar with, and just talking to them and keeping it on more of a one-on-one kind of situation, and then slowly build up into a group situation as well. I've heard other stories where people were having social anxieties as well, where they had a hard time talking to people. So the one story I heard was a guy used to go out in like a giraffe suit or something like that, and it actually forced him to talk to people because it kept bringing people to him. So he actually had to talk to them. So he started overcoming that by basically standing out in a crowd and forcing people to basically come talk to him because he looked so outrageous in this crazy outfit. So I don't know if I'd go quite that far myself. I'm a pretty social person myself. So once I got over some of the anxiety of talking to other people, it was actually a lot easier to do so. And then overcoming this, like, it's pretty simple because I'm really just feel like I'm talking to myself for the most part and just talking to a camera. But then I also have the chat where I try to answer questions and interact there as well. But overall, I think it's just a matter of just stepping up and trying to figure out how you want to figure it out. It's, like I said, just baby steps on everything to get overcome, and you will be totally fine. All right. Well, I've rambled on long enough now. So if you had a good time, you can always hit me up on social media. You can find me at El Dorado everywhere, legitimately everywhere. I am not unique. I am not special. I'm not creative enough to come up with different names for all the different places. And I felt like this really kept kind of the name all in one spot as well. So that way it was really easy to find me everywhere. So yeah, it's ELDEROBBO. I just linked it into all the chats as well. So if you want, you can always find me there. You can find me there on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, Instagram. If you want to drop me a direct message. You can do it through Facebook or Twitter or Instagram as well. You can also find me on YouTube, which is not that. It's actually like the Unwired Lifestyle or something like that, from like an old time thing that I was doing like many, many, many years ago. So yeah, if you want, you can find me there. I'm also at that same handle at DLive, Twitch, Mixer, Periscope, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're all my main ones, and Snapchat if you want to check, if you want to hit me up there as well. I'm totally cool with that. All right. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me as much as I enjoyed hanging out with all of you. I hope you have a great night, and I look forward to talking to you some more. I hope you join me all for coffee in the morning. It's at 6 a.m. Pacific, and I look forward to having some coffee and chatting with you then as well. All right, everyone. I hope you have a great night. I will chat to you all in the morning. Have a good one. Adios. Oh, you can't even see that.